Alright, today class we'll be talking about mitosis and how DNA replicates and all the steps that are involved with mitosis. So let's get started. So first we're going to talk about how DNA replicates. We have, can you all see this?
Yeah.
You guys can all see this right here? I'll just hold it like this. So, we have a strand of DNA, a double helix strand of DNA. And we have what's called the DNA polymerase, which is an enzyme that is needed in the process to duplicate DNA. And what it does, it unwinds the double helix strand of DNA, and it separates it. And it brings in new nucleotides to make an exact replica of the parent strand of DNA. Two identical daughter strands of DNA. So we'll go next slide. So yeah, DNA replication comes before cell division, so it happens before the cell divides. And then it requires a DNA polymerase. And what the polymerase does is it unbinds the double helix strand and helps bind nucleotides to form two new daughter strands of DNA. Any questions? Yes.
So why does DNA need to replicate?
Replicate.
Idea every day.
Great. I was gonna ask you guys that question.
Oh.
No way. What do you think?
Me?
Yes, Spencer. What do you think?
Why does the DNA need to replicate?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Do you know, Matt?
Is it because the DNA deteriorates?
Not quite. Allow me to explain more about that.
Please do.
Do you guys have any thoughts of why DNA needs to replicate?
Well, DNA is what determines what the cell does. And so we need DNA.
So DNA is in the nucleus of the cell, which determines what the cell does. Yes. So we'll move on. Great answer. So we're going to go into what's known as the cell cycle and mitosis.
Wait, are you going to tell us why it replicates?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now. Great question, Spencer. Great question. So what mitosis is when a cell divides asexually. Does everyone know the difference between asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction?
Yes.
So sexual reproduction, you need two parent genes, and then asexual, you just need a single gene, a single cell. So when a single cell reproduces asexually, it undergoes mitosis, where the parent cell reproduces two identical daughter cells. And it goes through what's called the cell cycle. And we're going to go more in detail what the cell cycle is. It has three phases: interphase, mitosis, and then cytokinesis. Go through quickly. So interphase has three phases in and of itself: the G1 phase, S phase, and then the G2 phase. In the G1 phase, the cell grows, all of the proteins inside the cell duplicate. And then in the S phase, the DNA duplicates. And then in the G2 phase, the cell continues to grow, and it kind of goes and undergoes like a double check of everything that was duplicated to make sure there are no errors in it. And then it goes to step 2, I just explained all that, which is mitosis. This pretty picture. And then, so mitosis has about 5 phases in it: prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase, and then cytokinesis, which is kind of part of telophase. So what prophase, so the first step, prophase, is when all of the chromosomes in the nucleus of the cell, they bind together. And then and also these little dots on the side, in the side of the cell, they're called centrioles. And then they make these little strand things called spindle fibers. And the metaphase is when the nucleus dissolves and the chromosomes line up along the equator of the cell. And then the spindle fibers kind of like reach up toward the chromosomes, like kind of grabbing them in the middle. And then in anaphase is when the spindle fibers pull one half of the chromosome. So they're called sister chromatids. So they pull one half of the same chromosome to the opposite end of the cell. So it has half of the DNA of one chromosome in each end of the cell. Does that make sense? You see, they're pulling them to each end of the cell, and then telophase is when the sister chromatids are on opposite ends of the cell, and that's when the cell membrane, like the little border around the cell, starts to close in on itself, developing two identical daughter cells. And then the cytokinesis step is when the cytoplasm, like all the little space inside the cell, divides, creating two identical daughter cells. And that, friends, is mitosis. Yes.
Ooh.
Wait, so why do they need to replicate? DNA?
So when the DNA replicates, that's when the chromosomes replicate. So the sister chromatids, there's only like one side of it, and when it replicates, the other side is formed.
It's to create equal.
Yes,
patterns
so
of
it's
whatever for each.
yeah. So the two identical daughter cells have identical information as the parent cell, and that's why they need to replicate. So each daughter cell has the same information. Yes.
Did you make these slides yourself?
I did. All right, team. And so that you remember everything I just taught you, we're gonna do a little activity. We are going to.
Does it involve us reproducing asexually?
It does not. Where's my bag? We are going to. We are going to recreate these steps using candy.
Whoa!
I
No way!
can do that.
So these little guys, we'll just get creative with it. And yeah, do you want to hit stop on that?